Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast, where I, your host, Xavier Cruz, a lifelong wrestling fan, will take a lifelong friend through the action, the joys, and the drama of the world of professional wrestling. My co-host, Kelsey Silva, has been bitten by the wrestling bug, and I want to invite you to join us as I take her through the moments that made me a fan. So if you're new to wrestling and would like to get brought up to speed, or a fan who would like to relive some classic matches, promos, and segments through fresh eyes, join us as we embark on a journey through the Attitude Era and beyond. Welcome to the New to Wrestling podcast. Hello, and welcome to another edition of the New to Wrestling podcast. This week, we watched the In Your House It's Time pay-per-view, and the match card is as follows. We had Leif Cassidy and Flash Funk in our opener. For the WWF Tag Team Champions, we had Owen Hart and the British Bulldog taking on Fake Razor and Diesel. For the Intercontinental Championship, we had Mark Miro with Sable taking on Hunter Hearst Helmsley. And in an Armageddon Rules match, we had The Undertaker taking on the Executioner. And in our finale, we had Bret Hart taking on Sycho Sid for the WWF Championship.
Crazy.
I know. So before we get too far into the pay-per-view, I just wanted to point out a little addition to the set. You guys can't see it yet because I haven't brought it up. And for those of you listening, you're just going to have to find us. You're just going to have to find us on YouTube, Instagram.
Or use your imagination.
If you've seen the logo, you know what it looks like. But true. Our friends at ultimatehockeyfans.com came through with this insane sign. It was gifted to us by Lee of the Geeks Who Like Sports podcasts, among many others podcasts. But it's beautiful and it lights up. It's not plugged in right now. It lights up? Yeah, the back lights up. It's a whole thing.
No.
So I'm gonna officially put this in the set. So I'm gonna take off my headphones. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, go for it. Stop. She's so cute. Oh my God.
Tell me that doesn't look beautiful.
So beautiful. Oh my God, Lee, thank you so much. Lee is like our number one fan. And
honestly.
Our only one. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Lee, we love you so much.
They're out there.
Oh my God, I love it. How cute.
Right? I know.
Right on your shoulder.
So I'm like, it's so nice. I don't want to touch it too much. I don't want to get my grubby fingers all over it.
I
you know
so
what
get
I mean?
that.
All right. That. So let's get into this pay-per-view because it was wild. It was a shorter pay-per-view than the ones we've previously watched, but it was what it lacked in length it made up for in action.
Indeed. Oh my God.
Amen. So
it was a short tea party, but it was
fast and
full
furious.
of crumpets.
Listen, that's probably the best way I've ever heard that described, and I'm gonna need you to just put that in your Rolodex from now on. So the pay-per-view opens with a kind of promo beats for the main event, obviously, between Sycho Sid and Bret Hart. I liked it a lot.
I loved it.
It was like subtle. They kept flashing back and forth between like the pink of like Bret Hart and the black of Sycho Sid's mental state generally. So like
the blackness of his soul.
Listen, I thought it was great. It was
so good.
It curtailed us nicely over the last like couple of weeks because there's a lot of moving parts as far as this storyline goes. As we've kind of talked about in our previous episode, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving wrestlers, and who's involved in what up to what point. We needed the recap.
Because it's really crazy because now it's like literally like 6 wrestlers are intertwined in like a beef, which ends up not like coming to a head, but ends up being a factor throughout the pay-per-view. But like I keep going like, wait, who's fighting with who? And so that recap was perfect. So I was like, oh, okay, right. Everyone just hates everybody. I got it.
I just wanted to confirm that the like cartoon like dust cloud fight is actually what we're being presented with.
I'm like, oh, they hate everyone. Oh, okay.
Oh, got it.
Check.
The answer is D, all of the above.
Swear.
So, in our opening match, we had Leaf Cassidy, who this is the first time we've seen Leaf Cassidy fly solo. He is normally part
Mhm.
of the New Rockers with Marty Jannetty, but apparently he wants to strike it out on his own, which is news to all of us.
Right.
But he was taking on Flash Funk, who has been on a little bit of a roll since his debut at the
Yeah.
Survivor Series. He comes out dressed to the nines. Absolute. He's got like a white fur coat on, and of
Yeah, I
course the
love it.
Funkettes.
Looks so good.
They
They
did.
could wear that today. Like it was like a matching silver sequin set, but it was like a little mini skirt and then the top was like that little like cropped button up that they tied. But like
Mm-hmm.
you could wear that today. Like they looked so cute, but they still take way
Oh,
too long to get into
100%.
the
And
ring.
like I was
Oh,
with it until they went around the ring and invited Vince McMahon in on the party, which it always feels like you're just watching your drunkest uncle dance
swear.
every time.
Absolutely.
And we're all uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable. It's like a drunk uncle who has had like several like both of his hips replaced. Like it's just or he needs both of them replaced because it's giving stiff.
Right? No, he just keeps putting it off because he's like, "Oh man."
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's like, I'm fine. There's nothing a little grease won't fix or
Yeah, just rub
something.
some dirt in it.
Oh God, yeah.
Flash Funk had the was matching the Funkettes with his matching like thigh high boots, which I was
Oh
mostly
yeah.
impressed by because
I
like
actually loved the boots.
how did you even get those up
I don't even know how he wrestles them because they were actually like boot covers.
covers? Right.
Like he's wearing a shoe and then they like have a little stirrup action and they like hook, but they went all the way up to his thigh. I have no idea how he wrestled in them. Like I don't I
Beyond me,
yeah,
honestly.
no idea. But
So
he
this
did.
so this match was really competitive. One Funk is very his whole shtick is just he's sticking and moving. That man had so
Mm-hmm.
many impressive counters. He was flying all over the place,
Yeah.
sometimes to his detriment,
Swear.
obviously. There was at one point in the match, he goes to like just kind of like jump from the ground straight up to the top rope. And I was like, baby, you can climb him like a ladder. You don't have to try and do it. But he falls off of the top rope and like
Yeah.
falls like over to the outside and like catches himself and then like tries to like redo it. And just like, I get it. You're like trying to get this one bit into the
Yeah.
match. Uh, but if you have to force it that aggressively, it's like
Yeah.
just take the L and move on. Like
Right. And then like it was weird because then Leaf had to stand there and be like, "Oh no, what do I do?" Like
what
it
yeah,
was like it created like an awkward like pause, like, "Oh, like I don't
right.
know." It was so weird. I was like,
Because like
"Okay."
to continue on like into the next portion of the match, I'm sure it was precedent like predicated on him finishing this move completely, and it
Yeah.
just threw it off. And I think both of them are in a point in the, as far as like their careers go where they're not experienced enough to make up for it in a seamless kind of
Right,
way.
right, right. Totally.
Uh,
Yeah.
because in my notes I literally wrote down Funk flopped.
Ooh,
He did.
I mean, he did. He really did. It was not a graceful flop either.
No, no.
No.
It was brutal. But don't get
Yeah.
me wrong, Leaf Cassidy on the other hand also had a moment where he missed the moonsault that he was like going for, and
Yeah, that was pretty bad.
he landed just like face down. Like it is
It
like
was it was
he didn't like turn his
pretty
head to like protect his face. He just like fully just
blur.
ate that one, and you're like,
It
oh, okay.
it was yeah, there was I will say Funk Flex is wait,
Funk Master Flex?
Funk Master Flex? Funk
No,
Master Flex. Funk. The Funk.
no,
No.
Flash Funk. He's had
Flash
many
Funk.
names.
What is Flash? What is whatever?
I don't know. It's definitely from somewhere that's just seeping into her brain that
No,
has actually
100%.
yes.
Yes, I'll just say Funk.
Yes.
So
From
Funk
now on
was
out, he goes by
that's
one
it.
name like Oprah, Funk.
Cher, Oprah, Beyonce, all the greats, Funk.
Right. Funk.
So he was like, he does make me laugh at some point, and I feel like this
Yes.
is like a lot actually. And this is like kind of the disconnect I have with Or like this is what I desire from how I feel about Double J. Like where Funk
Yes.
does all these like moves in between, and it is so funny because he'll do like a body roll and then like like he like it's almost like he like summons the energy from the floor to like use his fist. And it
Oh,
because it works with
absolutely.
his character,
Well, it's
it's
because he spends
funny.
15 minutes dancing like to the ring.
I swear,
Like,
yes,
so it
he has
makes
a whole
sense.
opening number. So yeah, it makes sense that that's like a part of his character. But then when like Triple, not to like suddenly bring up Triple J and air him out, but like it's just that thing where like Triple J. Oh, now I'm giving him too many J's. Double J. Now it's like quadruple J. Like next episode,
It just sounds like you just fell asleep on the keyboard.
or like your cat came up here and was like,
No, fully.
um but Double J, like he does all that same thing in between, like when he does moves, but you're just like, what are you doing?
Because it feels out of place.
Yes,
Because the dude
yes.
comes down like singing like a country song, and then like all of a sudden he's like
He's trying to bust a
pop
move.
locking like body roll, and you're like, what is your shtick,
No,
dude?
what is
What
it?
is your shtick?
But with Funk, it lands, and it was like kind of funny. I was like, I don't know, like it's kind of, and people love him. The crowd loves him.
Well, he does like, especially at this point in like 1996, like nobody is doing that, what he can do in the ring.
I
That
mean,
man
he's
is
flying all over the place. He is
right.
like, oh, it's
And
crazy.
especially as far as like the WWF audience goes, it's they're so accustomed to like Vince's like preference of wrestler is that like, 6'4" and up, 300-pound like muscle. That's his like flavor. So when
Mm,
that's the person in charge picking all of the matches all of the time, like you don't necessarily, and especially up until the advent of like your Shawn Michaels, like he was really sticking to that formula. So up until
right.
like this point, this is the first time this audience that is like very much behind the WF is being exposed to this kind of wrestling, the kind of wrestling that's influenced by Mexico, Japan. Like there's just a lot
Mm,
of other styles that clearly he was brought up in that he has now been able to like translate, back to the Americas, which is cool, but it's just
yeah.
not something that has been seen much before.
Yeah, for sure. And like obviously everybody loves it. I mean, I love it. There's something so endearing about him that I can't like quite put my finger on, but he's just so good also. Like despite his little funk flop, he
No, and I think that's just really like a numbers game. Like
yeah, for
you
sure.
because most of his offense is just like, you know, high flying, like statistically, you're gonna make a mistake eventually. Like
Right. Yeah.
there is the reason they call it high risk. But to kind of like transition to the close of this match, he performs the most beautiful 450 splash. It was A1. It was so good.
A1. It was beautifully done.
And like literally you could like hear the like gasp of the audience, which is pretty cool when like you
Yeah.
when an entire like stadium or an entire like arena full of people, like you can tell they're having the same like moment. It's pretty
Mhm.
awesome, like regardless
So
of the
true.
setting.
I actually thought about that when he was wrestling, and like he really did like elicit such a reaction from the crowd like at certain points, which he deserved. And I was like, it must feel so good for him because he debuted not that long ago,
Right.
and to like have already such a connection with the crowd and like feel like, the
They have
work that he's
accepted
put in,
him.
yes, like is really being like honored the way it should be, because he really is doing insane stunts. Like that must feel so crazy. Like I can't imagine like the high from feeling that way, like knowing the crowd loves you and like you're doing all these crazy moves and landing them, and it's just
Hmm.
like
Well,
they get it. It's crazy.
well, a lot of wrestlers actually like speak about that, like and I'm sure it's not exclusive to wrestler. I think it's anybody that puts on live performances, especially
Yeah.
to that scale. There is
Mhm.
they do talk about like the high of like being in front of that many people, and then like
Mm.
after you have to be like, oh, I'm like a regular person now. Like how crazy is that? Like
That is wild.
what
I
do you
can't
think that
imagine
does to
that.
you, kind of like mentally? You know?
Yeah, I'm sure it's like to what a lot of musicians go through, like that
Right.
are really famous. They're just like it, especially like when the WWE though, I feel like is different because like a musician tours for a set amount of time, and like yes, you can go on these like long, elaborate, like insane tours, but like the WWE, like
never
They
stops.
never stop. They literally never stop. They wrestle every day for like
300 plus days a year.
and travel all the time. Like it's just why. So the highlight is just like bing, 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 bing. Like
It's gotta be. Like, there's no way.
yeah, like I can't imagine that. That has to be so crazy. Wow.
Amen. So we're going to transition into our tag team championship match.
Mm,
This one started out with a backstage interview with Kevin Kelly. Kevin Kelly doing the Lord's work, showing up to work.
here you go.
Basically, he essentially calls them out for not being on the same page for the last couple weeks, as we have
Love that
seen,
about him.
because of all of these like interlapping storylines, mostly with the antagonist of it all being Stone Cold Steve Austin. So
Mm-hmm.
as we know, the Bulldog has been very focused on Stone Cold Steve Austin and has not been focusing on the fact that he has a championship match, much to the chagrin of Owen Hart, who's been
Mm-hmm.
trying to kind of like steer him back to where he needs to be mentally.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a little difficult when Stone Cold seems to be popping up everywhere. Knock, knock, knock. Hello.
Hey, ding dong. Pop up, guess who?
He's like a pop-up book from hell. He's everywhere.
Yup.
So
Everywhere.
both teams make their entrances. Of course, JR, when Fake Diesel and Razor come out, and he did not even wait 3.5 seconds before he's like, I am offended by these fans. Why would they boo such
It's like,
great young athletes?
oh my
And
God,
it's like, baby, we've been over this.
it's
We
so
don't want
tired.
them. We don't want them.
It's
I
so
don't
tired.
want fake Razor and Diesel.
And again, we talked about this probably, I think it was last week or the week before, but it's like, again, like you don't have to get so irate every time they come out now. Like JR, I'm
Right,
like we were saying, like if you don't want people to be talking about it anymore, then stop bringing it up.
right.
Like don't air out your dirty laundry and be upset when someone's like, "Hey, your clothes are gross." Like, uh,
Amen.
like what?
Did you
What are we?
see did you see that little moment in the ring where Owen's like holding his like little slammy and Diesel like turns around and he goes to like fake hit him?
Yeah,
I So funny. I miss
I love
Owen
it.
Hart to no end. He
Yeah,
does so many like little things that are so underrated. Just because it all leads to the bigger brat character that he
I
is.
know.
Like
He's
every
yeah.
little thing that he does, he just like exudes like just bratty little brother, and it works so well.
It does. And you know it works well because it doesn't irritate me. Like I'm just
No,
like, God, this guy. And
no,
like,
exactly, because it's funny. Like,
yeah, some little girl in the audience had a sign that she like painstakingly made with glitter. It was so cute. That was like, Owen Hart is the best there is, the best there was, the best there is, and the best there'll ever be. Which obviously is a play
yeah, yeah,
on
yeah.
Bret Hart's whole shtick. And it was so funny. I think Vince McMahon was like, "Oh, look, only the one fan of Owen Hart is here." And we're like, "Oh,
Oh, like so rude.
mind your
So rude.
I do think it's so funny though that he like again a subtle thing that adds to the bratty energy is he walked out with his Slammy
Of course
like
he does.
award. Like he has
Always.
his championship belt on, which makes sense. Obviously, it's a title match, but then like he has his like little Slammy, which is
And
hysterical.
I love it. I want to just see like a montage of just like Owen and his slammy. Just give me like 3.5 minutes, like them at the park, them on a date.
I swear,
like,
honestly,
like
they should have done that. Like that would have been the funniest part. Them on the swings, like he's like pushing it on
no,
the
fully
swing,
just pushing the slammy.
on the
Yeah,
seesaw. Oh my god, that would have been so funny. They should have done that. That's
honestly.
great.
So during this match, we have two sets of intrusions. We have the first time that people come down to ringside, and they are wrestlers from it's AAA. It's a like AAA. It's a Mexican promotion. So during this time, we're heading into the Royal Rumble. As
Mm,
it was announced that these two wrestlers are going to be a part of the Royal Rumble, which I guess is like their way of introducing them to the audience.
mm-hmm.
Uh, I just found it a little weird that they just like came out, like they came out to ringside.
Yeah,
One of them took their shirt off and like threw it in the ring and then like left.
it was weird.
It was
And I guess, like, I think JR said, like, I think they're coming out because they're a tag team and are, like, coming to, like, get the measure of the tag team.
Right.
But it just didn't read that way. Like, it wasn't, like, that.
Overt.
I think it wasn't, like, clear enough, and I feel like it would have been maybe better, like, yes, do I wanna see people come ringside when they're not supposed to? Of course, I love the drama, but I also love sometimes when they have, like, the cut to the back and it's, like, someone just, like, studying them on TV.
Oh,
And,
true.
like, I feel like that would have been sick if they were just, like, back there, like, studying them on TV and, like, the kind of introduce them that way.
Or you could have had them like come down like in the ring, like sorry, through the fans and like take like a seat like front row or something. Because obviously it's like two
Yeah.
masked wrestlers because they're huge and like so is if they would have like cut the camera to then I don't know. It just didn't read
Yeah.
the way that they wanted to, I believe.
They should have done the Ahmed Johnson steal your seat. Where
Oh,
they, like, where he was just
oh,
like,
fully. He walked out of the ring and just tapped some guy on the shoulders, like, "That's my seat now." And you're
"Move."
like, "Okay," and you're like,
Okay.
"Absolutely, Ahmed Johnson. Whatever you say, sir."
Yeah, like, just have just if they had posted up chairs in the front, that would have been sick too. And give them more exposure. They could just sit there the whole time.
No, exactly. I don't know. It was like
It didn't
they were
land.
there, they weren't there. It's fine. We'll see more of them supposedly at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But that was just the first interference. Literally not 2 minutes later,
Not even.
Stone Cold comes down the ramp and chop blocks the Bulldog from behind, thus
Mhm.
continuing whatever chaos they have already got going.
Yeah.
And it essentially just takes Bulldog out of the match because his knee is just F.
I thought that happened after they won.
It happens twice.
It happened twice?
Yes, he comes out twice.
Why did I miss that?
Maybe you were writing something. Yeah, so he
I
comes
probably
out.
was. I
He
literally,
comes
because I
out.
was writing something about Stone Cold and I probably missed it.
Yeah, so he comes out during the match, chop blocks him, then tosses the Bulldog back into the ring so that he can just receive whatever like punishment he's got going on. And then he gets escorted out because like a ton of security and like backstage stooges and whatever come out because this man needs to be handled and
Yeah.
drag him out.
This
So
was the pay-per-view. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say this is the pay-per-view of, like, the most security I've ever seen and the most, like, referee work I have ever seen, which we'll probably get into.
Oh,
But, like,
we'll definitely
I've
get into the
never seen
referee.
the security so
Competent?
available. Yeah, like,
I've never
on the
seen
premises.
a more competent like group of security in a wrestling show ever.
Where were they?
Normally
Palm
they
Springs?
normally they are there to just be fed to whoever the like monster is that day. I
Yeah.
don't know where they got these security guards from, but they were on their P's and Q's. They were not
That
letting anything slide.
they seriously, I've never seen Stone Cold escorted out so easily and quickly. I
Oh,
was like, whoever is running this dome or wherever we are in Palm Springs, they are on top of it. They
right.
said we're
I
not
want to
getting
meet the
our
head Paul
reputation.
Blart. I want to know.
Oh,
I want to
period.
know who's
Paul Blart
running
is
this ship.
on this. Who is driving this Segway? Who's in charge here?
Oh,
Incredible.
so at some point during the match, the crowd starts going nuts with a like Diesel sucks chant that is so loud that JR has to address it.
Of course he does. Even if one person was whispering it in the nosebleeds, he would have been like, "Hey, why are we like this?" So of course the loud chant he's gonna have a conniption over.
Yeah, obviously. So the match continues, and there's one point where Owen goes to clothesline Diesel outside of the ring, and Owen they make it over. Owen falls over first. Diesel looks like he's about to like land on Owen's head. If Owen didn't turn his head at the last second and move, he would have just been like splat by this dude. He was coming straight for his neck.
It was a close call. Both of us were like,
Yes.
and even the way like Diesel came down, I thought he was gonna bash his head on the apron.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
he just came down like it just like it was clunky and it was
It was
a little
not a good
scary.
landing, that is
And
for sure.
thank God Owen Hart is the wrestler that he is and was able to be like,
Skirt? No, honestly. So while
yeah.
that's happening on the outside, the Bulldog and Razor are getting into it on the inside. So we get to the point where it looks like it looks like Razor's going to set up the Bulldog for the Razor's edge. Owen Hart runs into the ring at full speed, hits him with a spinning heel kick, and then the Bulldog gets the pinfall victory. All the while, JR is shouting because he's pissed. Because I love that this is the only team in which he doesn't stay like journalistically neutral. Like this is the only time that he is so overtly like in support of like two wrestlers, and it's so weird because it's just it's not consistent with the rest of what he's doing.
It's very Jerry the King of him.
Very
Very
much
Jerry
so.
the King of him.
And it feels like literally his only enemies in life are the fans that hate Riesel. I combined their name. That's their couple name.
Their couple name is Riesel. You heard it here for a new couple name just dropped. My god.
The fans that hate Razor and Diesel, and then Vince McMahon, and then the list ends there. And that is JR's hit list.
I love it.
In a nutshell.
It's great.
But that actually doesn't stop there, because Stone Cold once again after the match comes out and attacks the Bulldog again. And he's already just like over it. So this man, I love that he does not even have a match, and he's still arguably the most important person on this pay-per-view.
Swear to God, I will say that this whole pay-per-view was a lot about the background people. Not like the background people, but like how there were more moving parts very present than just the wrestlers, which obviously that happens a lot. But I feel like this match, this pay-per-view, it was like more apparent.
Yes.
Like the like I said, the refs, the security, like all the people who like Stone Cold who didn't even have a match, and like all the people on the outside, like when later in the evening Shawn Michaels is an announcer, like it's just
there's a lot of kind of supplemental story as far as you know how we talked about the last pay-per-view being like very much like not a lot of plot, just a lot of matches, like match. This was very much not that. I think it was a better balance than what we got last time.
It was probably that's a good point. I feel like it was one of the best balanced episodes where it was like the wrestling was exceptional, but also the tea was exceptional.
Yes.
Like I feel like it was a perfect balance of plot and actual physical wrestling.
I agree. I'm 100% with you on that one. So after that match, we get an interview with the returning Ahmed Johnson. We haven't seen Ahmed Johnson since Farouk. Well, we've seen him periodically. We haven't seen him wrestle since Farouk took him out months ago. Months and months ago.
So good to see him.
So basically in this interview, he goes into just detailing the fallout of his life since this injury. He says, I lost my girlfriend, I lost my house,
I lost my car. His car.
I was like, what is going on? I was like,
and that was what he opened with.
No.
Like Vince McMahon interviewed him?
Yes.
Vince McMahon was like, so this is exciting. Like, how have you been? He goes, been pretty terrible. I lost basically almost lost my career, lost my house, lost my girlfriend, lost my car, lost my job for a few months, lost my dignity, lost my way. Like, he just like, when everyone was like, oh.
Right. When literally you half expect like Sarah McLachlan to start playing over the loudspeaker. like it's just so sad.
Call like 8 cents.
Like, are we supposed to donate? Like, what's going on?
Swear to God.
But he turns it a little bit and it's basically just goes on to say, like, Farouk, you are now facing a man who's lost everything. Be prepared for what that looks like. Essentially.
Yeah. Except the fans, he said. He was like, the only reason I have left to live are these people right here. And then everyone lost their minds. I would have. If I was in that audience, I would have been like I would have lost.
Will to live.
Will to swim. I've got to be somebody's. I'm not my own. I've got to be somebody's. Also, will to live, speaking of, his royal blue tracksuit.
Amen. With the fanny pack?
With the fanny pack? Come on.
I said he could have walked around, like he could be walking around the street today and I'd be like, that
Today.
man's got style. Like that
He
whole
looks
thing translated so well.
so well. He looked exceptional. And then
But of course, his ears must have been a burning because the Nation of Domination comes out and not on the aisleway, they're kind of like up in the rafters somewhere.
yeah,
And then Farouk and Ahmed Johnson start going back and forth. And that was intense.
it was um it it was
It was a
it
lot.
was it was a lot. Like I don't even know how to describe it because we were in those are some of my favorite moments. Also when we watch is like something so heinous happens and people just go and just stare at each other for like 2 minutes. Like don't even say anything. We're just like
yeah. There's some of what the back and forth I will not be the one to repeat.
nope.
Nope.
Not I.
But
Not I.
this exchange really sets up where they're going. So it was announced during this moment that they will finally be having their one-on-one match at the Royal Rumble. So
I'm
Kelsey's
psyched.
pumped.
I'm psyched. I've been waiting for them to fight for so long for this like redemption. Because if you think about it again, it's somewhat of a similar vein to Bret Hart. If you want to like he wasn't the champion, but it's like he was taken out of his game in his prime. And he has not been able to get revenge for literal months or like justice or whatever you want to call it. Like he hasn't been able to get his hands on anybody for months because of an injury. Like obviously Bret Hart's was a decision, like where he was like, I'm out of here, whatever. But it has to me, it gives me that same energy where I'm like, I just want to see his comeback so bad, and I just want to see him fight for like
because
fight for
also
his right.
but it's also because there is a very real injury that was attached to this. Like
Yes, it was real life.
right. So I'm very excited to see them finally like I'm very excited to see this finally like, come to a head. Do
Yeah.
I think that first meeting will be the end of that?
No, can't
Not
be.
at all.
There's no way. And I just miss Ahmed Johnson as a wrestler. Like I just
Yes,
like
he's
want him to
so
come back as a
impressive. Yeah,
wrestler. He's just so good, and we only watched him for like a couple of weeks before he was injured, I feel.
right.
And
Basically,
I'm always curious because like I know that he and Shawn Michaels were friends like when they were wrestling. Like I'm
right.
curious because there's so many things they could do with Ahmed's storyline when he comes back, I feel. Like he's just an interesting character. He's a great wrestler. I just like I can't wait for him to come back, especially at Royal Rumble. I feel like it's going to be so good.
Amen. And he never like lost the Intercontinental Champion. He had the championship. He had to give it up.
Yeah.
So
Wait,
that's just I'm just throwing it out
that's just
there.
speculation and hearsay, but you know I love the hearsay. Oh my god, that would be great. Because we have to talk
Listen,
about the
we knew
Intercontinental Championship, but
what a great segue. So the next match after this is the Intercontinental Championship match between Hunter Hearst Helmsley and the Wildman Mark Miro with Sable. And they kick it off. They give us the kind of the promo of they give us the long backstory
which
of
I
essentially
needed.
right. So essentially Sable, when she debuted as one of Hunter Hearst Helmsley's like baddies. Also, this promo was how do I even describe that?
It was like
It's
really
like 3.5 minutes of just like Triple H wrestling and then cutting to Triple H like seducing women. Like that was the
it
entire
had
promo.
some
It was
really
so weird.
it was laced with sexual undertones. Like it was almost like you know when in like they said like certain Disney movies like the McDonald's M like flashes, it was like
right.
almost like propaganda like marketing or something. I don't know, it was just like it would be him wrestling and they're talking about the storyline, but then randomly it'd be like a woman taking his shirt off or
No,
like them drinking champagne on the rug next to a fireplace. Like it
no.
was
It's literally one moment he's like giving some guy like a pedigree, and then in the next instant I feel like I walked into the cover of a romance novel. Like I don't
Swear
I was like, what
to
is
God,
this character?
one of the corset rippers at the grocery store, like
One
just
oh
on the
the
shelf.
cheapies. That's
The
$7 and it's
cheapies.
full of smut. That's
I love
exactly
it.
what it is.
And that's what the people want. But it was just like, it was so funny because there was like no mention of it. It just was there. Like, it was
Right.
like, again, like you said, like he's giving somebody the pedigree, and then it's like, he's at home on the rug.
No, fully. Like I was like, okay, Fabio, calm down, because his
Swear.
whole character is supposed to be this like arrogant, like just like blue blood, like rich guy. There's
Mm.
been no mention that there's this whole like sexual undertone to whatever he does
Because who
to this whole point. So like
who
the
is
promo is just very jarring.
yeah, and like, to be, if we're gonna like live in reality for a second, which I know this is the WWF, is like, who's how is that guy picking up all those women? Not that guy.
Not all of them.
Not all of them.
Someone different every week.
Every week? I don't know about that. I don't know about that. That's all I'll say. I don't know about that. Fact check.
So Jerry the King had a funny during this one. So he go as Triple H is making his entrance. He goes, "All important men have prominent proboscises," and I was like, "Sure, Jerry."
And then meanwhile, he is like flat faced. So like, what's your excuse, Jerry the King?
I know. Aren't you supposed
Are
to
you
be
not
royalty? What
prominent?
happened?
Like, what? It's like, okay, thank you,
He just
but
can't stop himself, you know.
he really can't. And also, really, I do really quickly also want to mention that for some reason they had a blimp. Can we talk about the blimp for just a second?
Yes, please.
There was a
It was.
karate
Go
fighters.
ahead.
Okay, so right now the WWE, I suppose, is being sponsored by a game from the 90s called the Karate Fighters, which I do not recall, but obviously it was popular enough to sponsor the WWF. So, but
And
either
it's not even like the first time. Like this has
oh,
like
it's
been
weeks,
ongoing. I was
weeks.
watching like stuff from 1994, like late 1994, and apparently they've been just like sponsoring them for a long time. Like,
That is wild to something, and it's something I don't even remember, which is nuts.
no,
Anyway,
it feels like a fever dream every time they talk about it. I'm like, what
it
do I just
does.
like not remember this from my childhood, or like
Did
what
I
is
block
this?
it out? Like, what is that? And it's over. They have like a tournament going anyway. It doesn't even matter. But they had like randomly before this match, they just had like a gigantic black karate fighters blimp like just start floating around like the arena. And Xavier was like, imagine you like bought tickets to a pay-per-view and like you can't see because there's
Right,
just
because there's
a
just
blimp that says karate fighters on it
I would
in
have
front
been
of you.
livid.
Livid. I said I would have taken a little dart gun and just
Oh,
pop.
absolutely. That would have been.
I know that they must take it down before
They
like
have to,
they
right?
have to. That would be crazy, and they must. But like, it's like,
I
like
was like, get it out of here.
we don't need this. We don't need the blimp. Anyway,
So this match was very impressive. This is not their first meeting between the two. Obviously, Triple H won the title from Mark Miro, but it very much so was Triple H was trying to make sure that he used his championship advantage
yeah.
at all points during this match. So at one point, he was using Sable as a shield. He tried to get counted out. He tried to get disqualified because he kept putting his hands on Earl Hebner, and Earl Hebner, the referee, was having none of it.
I wrote Earl, the referee, was the star of this match. Honestly,
Earl is not afraid to get in their face.
I
I love that.
I love Earl. There's one part where they're out. I don't know if you were going to talk about this, but I'm sure you were, because
Go
you're a
ahead.
consummate professional. But there is one part where they are outside of the ring, and Triple H goes to grab a chair and hit Mark Miro with it.
Mm-hmm.
And as he's on the backswing, and I didn't even see the referee. I was like, I don't even know where he is. And on the
He wasn't in
backswing,
frame.
no, he wasn't. And suddenly the
Right.
chair just disappears. And I was like, I was like, I thought someone else came out. Like somebody who was
No,
from the,
baby, it's the da-da-da, it's Earl.
it's Earl. They were like, oh, they're like, the referee's not having any of that. And I was like, who is that? Oh, and I go, I didn't know his name was Earl at the time. And I go, this referee is crazy. And Xavier goes, who, Earl? Like, that's his cousin. You mean my cousin Earl? Oh,
right.
He's such a good referee. But
oh no, he'll get into it, and he gets into it with everybody. He doesn't care how big or small. He
later
Earl's in charge.
Sycho Sid.
Yeah, dude.
Who's 20 feet tall.
Amazing. Listen, I know. Earl don't care. He does not care at all. He says, I am the law.
Swear to God, it really gave that. I was like, he grabbed the chair and he said, no chairs in my match. Get in the ring. Get in the ring. No chairs in my match. And then later he really berates Triple H into a corner. Like, Triple H is literally cowering in the corner as Earl screamed at him.
And
screamed at him.
Between the two of them, goes on for years.
Goes
on for years. When I tell you Earl and Triple H will be fighting for years to come.
Stop.
Listen,
I love
Triple
that.
H does not at any point play more by the rules. He just gets worse. Let's just put it that way.
I expect nothing less. Yeah.
So obviously Earl is going to take some ruffled feathers with that.
Oh my God, Earl is my hero. Seriously.
Speaking of, Goldust comes down. Comes down and and attacks Hunter Hearst Helmsley because apparently prior to this match, Hunter was apparently trying to get into the ear of Marlena, and whatever he had said, they won't tell us, has set off something in Goldust. So Goldust marches his little happy ass down to the ring and just immediately starts going after Hunter.
I mean, I get it. I mean, honestly, my favorite storyline is like, I got to defend my woman.
Always. But the thing that like gets me is that he hits both of them with the championship belt. He grabs the Intercontinental title from the timekeeper and then hits both of them before making his exit.
He was like, I don't discriminate. You can both get hit. Y'all could both get it. Bop, bop. And Vince McMahon said, like, he goes, oh, I think he, like, because he swung it and, like, he was like, he missed Triple H and hit Mark Miro. And I was like, I don't even think he cares. I think he was just trying to hit somebody. And then, like, actually hit Triple H. But he was just like, bop, bop, both knocked out. They both almost get counted out because they're both dead, deceased outside the ring. And Gold just leaves. It's like, bye, girl.
But instead, Mark Miro makes it into the ring at, like, the count of, like, 9.
Yeah.
Thus winning the match. Yeah. But he doesn't win the title.
Infuriating.
Yeah, you were pissed.
I was so upset because I just want to see the bully get got.
Right.
And it is, I will say, like, I understand obviously why they did that. And I also understand, like, if I was Mark Miro, I would be like, I guess that isn't the way I'd want to win anyway. Like, if someone else interfered, like, because there's such bad blood between them. So I wouldn't want to, like, even if Triple H, like, got back in the ring and he was so weakened from, like, getting hit by Goldust, I don't know if that's the way I'd want to win. You know what I mean? Like,
you would have wanted like a more definitive match. Yeah, a clean finish. Yeah,
a clean finish, like, where it's like, I didn't want to win because Goldust came in and smacked you. Like, I want to win because I smacked you. Like, that's because you you know what I'm saying? Like, because you disrespected me and now I'm going to disrespect your face and take the title. Like, I get it. Like, I it's annoying and it's frustrating. And initially I was like so annoyed because, again, I want to see Triple H like just eat a shit sandwich right now. But, like, I get it.
Right.
I get it. Also, I do want to comment Sable looked excellent tonight. And speaking of, I want to get it. Speaking of, I want to get it. Catwoman, leather, tight.
Hallie got it from her.
Oh,
Let's
talk about it. What was said was said.
And then Goldust at the end once again comes out and attacks Triple H in the entryway on his way up the ramp.
Oh yeah,
I'm telling you, there was like they needed the security. Everyone was wilding.
Absolutely. And wait, I also too want to mention, because we were talking about like things that don't land, like how Funk lands, Double J doesn't. we're talking about how Mark Miro does the double peace sign and it makes
Oh,
no sense.
because it is the least intimidating thing I've ever seen.
What does that
Because he
have to
does something so cool and then follows it up with just,
like?
and you're
I'm
like,
so groovy. In case you forgot,
right, and you're just like, literally, you have it, and you just go, like,
literally like,
give
like
me the Debbie, like the Debbie Ryan, like,
swear, like, oh my god, I'm so spontaneous. Oh God, I
yeah,
can't. And then, but it was so funny because at one point he does it, and like at the same time, and man goes, "Oh, he's upset," but he's literally going like this with the
like
peace
smizing. Tyra would have
sign.
been proud.
Tara Banks is shaking right now. He literally, I will say, his smize is mwah, très magnifique. But like this makes
Got it.
no sense to the character. I don't get it. It like the I just yeah,
I don't know.
just cut it.
For a second, I thought it was like supposed to be like like tiger stripes or like what, but it's a stretch.
Okay,
Like
it's a
I'm
stretch.
fully doing like mental gymnastics to try and make that work.
Yeah,
Like
like
it's
you're like
not,
if I had to read into it, like maybe it's that,
maybe I
but
could connect a dot or two,
I
but like it's like trying to start a fire with like wet wood. Like it's just not
oof,
happening.
ooh, just a lot of smoke. Like, but I guess it would be worse if he was like.
I mean,
He's
it's
like,
always,
her,
you know what? Honestly, it
her.
would be worse. Although I think I personally would enjoy it more just for the haha factor.
Oh, I would lose it every time. That'd be hysterical. I mean, I do lose it at this, but this, like, if he's like, her, like every time, I would die. So
Because
I
then
guess, like,
he'd have to change his entrance music to like the Pink Panther theme. Like there'd be no way that he could just continue.
doo doo, doo doo.
So funny. Oh my god.
Oh my God. Ooh, girl, please.
So we transition out of that fiasco into an interview with the WWF champion Psycho Sid, and this one pretty good
Really good.
because like sometimes with Sid, we've talked about this before, they give him too much time and he doesn't know what to do with it. This
Yeah.
one was a lot shorter, a lot more to the point. I will say the backwards baseball cap just it makes it might as well just be like a cap with a propeller. That's how like it fits on this man because he's 7 feet tall and he's wearing a hat that's like 3 sizes too small and it doesn't fit. And I just want to be like, hey, Junior, like how you doing?
Oh
Like,
my God.
like it doesn't make sense.
Wait, he would look so good if he did that, though. He should do that. The cap with the propeller, just one
Oh,
time,
just
just once,
just for your
just for me.
yeah.
I just want to see it.
We'll see if we can like send that back in the time machine.
Yeah, I do. I will say he was also wearing blue like gym shorts, like that, like gym short material. He looked great in those. I will say he looked spectacular in those.
Listen, I'm not saying it don't look good. I'm just saying that
The
hat was
hat's got to go.
stupid.
Yeah, the hat's stupid. But also he like randomly. So Doc is the one that interviewed him, Doc Brown, and like randomly, one he said Psycho said something about like if you want to know about getting your ass beat, just ask Jose Lothario.
Oh
Which
yeah,
is wow.
right.
And then he
Low blow.
goes low blow, and then he said something about he goes to Doc like something about like you and your what did he say? You and your bad hair.
Oh,
He said
like
like
yeah,
oh
he's like
yeah,
so even somebody like you with your bad hair and
would
whatever
understand
could
something, and it
understand.
was just like oh, it was like
I was like, what did Doc do to you?
yeah, what
Like
did
he's
Doc
just
do to
standing here.
you? Doc is always the one trying to interview you, and you're always like being the psycho that you are. Now you got to talk about Doc's hair.
Absolutely
I mean, it is pretty heinous. I'll give him that. Doc's hair is horrid,
right.
but it's still you,
Let
Doc.
him
You
live.
gotta love him. Yeah, let him live. That's his choice. It's not like Psycho Sid's hair is much better.
No,
No,
no, that like macaroni art. No.
the macaroni art you made for Mother's Day for mommy, Psycho.
100%. We
Okay.
just like pour the whole thing of glue on it and dump the whole box on a piece of paper. That's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Happy Mother's Day.
Love you.
Oh my God. Save that forever.
Amen.
Wow.
So the next match, which I'm just gonna preface this, was like the Wild Wild West, was the Armageddon Rules match between the Undertaker and the Executioner. We get the whole backstory, which is essentially just the backstory of Mankind and the Undertaker.
Mm-hmm.
Has been going on. We know the
Mm-hmm.
Boiler Room, Buried Alive, No Holds Barred, Cage Above the Ring. Like we're running out of ways to up the ante.
Yep.
So we've moved the onus onto the Executioner because the Executioner has made himself ever present in all of these matches.
Mm.
So the rules of this match essentially are: one, there's no disqualification, no countouts, whatever. But there are pinfalls and submissions,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't really count unless the person who was pinned or submitted cannot return to the fight after a 10 count.
Right. So they have like, if they get pinned, they have like a 10 count to like get back up again if they
Right, which is
feel so
crazy
inclined.
because this turns in like whatever this match is. I feel like they just split into two separate matches, which is like a
Right.
no disqualification match, and then there is a match called the Last Man Standing match, which is if you fight until your opponent cannot answer the 10 count. So I feel like this was just like a weird combo of the two.
Yeah, and we were joking because we didn't really know what an Armageddon match was. It was obviously the first of its kind, so no one really knew. But we were like, I mean, what is this gonna be? They were like, there's no countouts, no disqualifications, but we didn't really know like the logistics.
And for weeks, they've like talked about, like, they've named the match, but they have
Mm-hmm.
not spent any amount of time explaining what the match is.
Yeah. We're just like, okay, that's gonna be crazy. We don't know. But like
Right, not a
it sounds
once.
like somebody has to literally die, but okay, like we'll see. And then they like I guess finally solidified the rules 20 minutes before the pay-per-view started. And so they were like really driving it home like what the rules were. Like they said it like multiple times. They had it like on the screen at one point and they
Right.
read it aloud, like they said it again, like they just kept saying
Fully.
it.
Yeah, they had it on the screen. JR read it. Then the
Yeah.
ring announcer read it. Then on commentary, they went over the rules again. I was like, oh, so now you're making up for the fact that you haven't explained any of this for 6
6
weeks
weeks.
and just hoping that we're all like on board.
They were like,
I mean,
okay,
not that the
got it.
rules were that difficult, but it's just like you had 6 weeks to get us here.
Yeah. I mean, it is
Hey.
interesting.
So Jerry the King has another funny during this one. So they're basically they're discussing how the Undertaker doesn't really have a lot of allies because, he is
Yes.
who he is.
Yeah.
So he doesn't tend to align himself with many people. So basically they were just commenting on Paul Bearer now like accumulating all of these people. Is like, Undertaker doesn't have very many friends. And then Jerry the King turns to JR and is just like, have you ever had a friend? And it's just so sad. You're just like, why are you
He
so
was
deep?
like, you must know something about that, right? Like, do you even have a friend? It's just like,
Yeah. And you're just like, but Jerry is like your favorite elementary school bully.
absolutely.
Just the one
Absolutely.
gives the one, oh, maybe this is more middle school. The bully in Max Keeble's Big Move.
Yes. The
It's like
one who's like afraid of the
McGruger.
yes,
Yeah.
the frog, the like weird
Yeah,
Scottish
the like
frog or
animated
something.
frog. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it gives very much that energy.
He gives big Regina George energy to me with
Mm,
like the cutting one-liner. Like, do you even know what having a friend is like? Okay.
right. Really
Like
cute skirt.
that's
Where'd you get it?
100. See, that's real. I feel like that's really what it gives. It's like, stop trying to make fetch happen.
So my favorite part of this match was Mankind's introduction to the match. So basically the Undertaker is ripping up the padding on the outside of the ring when Mankind tries to sneak up behind him, and he basically like lunges his entire body but misses the Undertaker's leg, like fully misses his target, and then just lands on the floor next to the Undertaker. And then to try and like salvage the moment, he starts like reaching up and trying to like grab at his leg.
It was such a mess.
It was so funny.
Because like Undertaker and Executioner on like the outside of the ring. Undertaker pulls up the padding so that he can like lay Executioner out on the concrete. And like I guess Mankind like tripped on the pad, like or like tried to like leap
Fully
over
tripped on
the
the padding.
padding,
Yeah.
tripped on it, and literally like he ate it so hard on the concrete and then just like rolled over and was like a little like cat like scratching at Undertaker's ankles.
leg. Yeah.
Like it was like we were like, ooh, like that. It didn't, and it was just like a weird moment of like confusion. Because obviously Undertaker was expecting to get like taken out at the knee. And he was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna drop the execute. Like it was so it was pretty funny. Like we laughed about it for quite a long while. I literally wrote Mankind came out and immediately ate shit.
Right. Headline.
Yeah, big the newsboy on the corner. Mankind comes out, immediately eats shit. 49 cents right here.
Oh my god, I'd buy that newspaper so fast. So essentially this turns into a like 2-on-1 handicap match because it's just the Undertaker, it's the Undertaker taking on the Executioner and Mankind, who are just absolutely going ballistic. I mean, granted, it's the Undertaker, so he's holding his own to a certain extent, but then you also have Paul Bearer running around squealing, so you know the numbers game will catch up to you eventually.
He's running around with that urn trying to hit people and just being a general nuisance.
The Undertaker fights them both up the ramp and then proceeds to throw Mankind through the In Your House set. Like
it was great.
He throws him into the house through the window and then kicks him out of the door back down the ramp.
Like the Kool-Aid Man.
Oh, like, absolutely like the cool, it just yeah, like like it was ridiculous.
Oh my god.
And then at one point it looks like the Undertaker's going to take down the whole set by like ramming the Executioner like into the corner of it. Like he rams him into it and the whole set moves. And you're just like, I'm sure I've been in enough plays. I understand that this set is just made with just like 4 pieces of wood in a dream, but like the whole thing almost came crashing down.
It really did. It was, and the crowd is right there, like up against the barricade, and I was like, if this comes down, I could not. It would come down right on the crowd. Like at least like the tip would have been like right on the crowd.
They would have got like the first like 3 rows had the thing actually like come down.
Yeah, it was. We were all like, ooh,
100%.
It somehow withstood
and
the Undertaker.
Then the security team, who all deserve a raise, come out just like in droves and start separating Mankind from the whole situation. During this time, the Undertaker essentially fights the Executioner all the way up through the fans, outside into just like the lobby area. Like, and Kelsey mentioned, like, can you imagine just like getting up in the middle of like a show to go get popcorn, and then all of a sudden behind you, like the Undertaker's like throwing a grown-ass man like halfway across a hallway?
It
like,
was
fun
because there were people there like either getting like a concession or going to the bathroom or whatever, but also like, why would you do that during the Armageddon match? But also fine, if you gotta go, you gotta go. But I was like, imagine like you go take a pee break and you come out and they're just fighting in front of the bathroom. You're just like,
this is amazing.
This is the best thing that's ever happened to me. Like, I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Because people were losing it. People who realized they were there were like,
oh, absolutely. Yeah. So Undertaker essentially fights the Executioner all the way outside and then dumps him down a like small like slope and like into just like into an embankment. Just dumps.
There was like some sort of, I don't know where they were. I feel like I have to look up this place like on Google Maps, because wherever they were had almost like a moat around it.
Right.
And like I guess you like crossed a bridge to like get into the venue, which sick, love to see it. It's like they were at medieval times, but
like, they show off that water feature, go off this.
Swear they were like, there was like a fountain. I don't even know, but literally suddenly it just like, because they went up the stairs and the cameras couldn't go up the stairs, and you see them go outside, and then it like cuts back to security subduing Mankind with mace, I might add. But
fully. And also, name a security team on planet Earth that comes equipped with straitjackets.
Oh,
I'll wait.
I don't
these people put Mankind in a straitjacket, and like you'd think that would be like the end of it, but of course not,
No.
because Mick Foley is crazy. So
Yeah.
then he just starts like throwing his body like every which way
Mm-hmm.
because the man can't be tamed.
He was maced, he was straitjacketed, he was surrounded by 18 security guards. It was crazy. But like, so it cuts to that, and then it suddenly just cuts to the outside of the arena, and like the executioner just like tumbling down the
Tumbling down.
concrete embankment, like into the water, and like just the Undertaker walking back inside. I was like, it literally looked like Undertaker like took out the garbage. I was like, oh God, I'm sorry. Like his mom was like, hey, you forgot to take out the trash. And he goes, oh, sorry. And
Sorry
like
about
went,
that.
took
Right.
out the garbage and was like, all right, let me get back in there. And then like went back in. It was just this man tumbling down, splash into the water. Undertaker's like, all right,
Right.
that's it.
So the Undertaker's walking back into the arena. Mankind, it just starts like trying to like headbutt him, essentially. Undertaker deals with that fairly quickly because the man
Yeah.
is in a straitjacket.
Yeah.
Tries to enter the ring, and that's when the executioner starts coming up like behind him. And they both finally like they get into it for like a little bit, and then the Undertaker scoops up the executioner for a tombstone. And it's hilarious because all of the water that I guess were trapped in this man's boots just start dripping out on either
It
side.
just floods.
Yeah, just it was so much water.
It was
And
great.
then so he tombstones him, gets the pinfall. Great. Quality. I'll take it. That's exactly how I thought this match was going to go because there was no way that Mankind was not going to be an active participant in
Of
this.
course, of course. I will say, it was weird to like draw. So basically, it's the only pinfall that happens in the match. They count out the 10 and he's done. And I was like, I feel like it was weird to like drive home the rule so hard that like pinfalls or submissions like happen and you only win if then an additional 10 count occurs and they don't get up. So I like, and the fact that that didn't happen once, like Executioner wasn't like pinned and then like got up,
Oh
like,
yeah,
or
yeah,
you know what
yeah.
I'm saying, or like
No.
Undertaker
It
wasn't
only became a
pinned.
factor up until only in the finish.
Yeah, and like it's also because I thought when I heard submission, because Executioner has like the whatever thumb in the neck thing, I was like, does
Does that count?
Undertaker like do like he does, the Executioner does it to Undertaker and it's a submission, but then after the 10 count he like gets back up. Because I was like, it's weird that they made that like such a rule and then didn't do it at all. Like didn't make that like part of the match. Like it was
Right.
crazy, it was insane, but I was like, the Executioner has a submission move. And like the Undertaker has the tombstone, which is like, you know, your standard like pinfall predicament setup. Like I was like, I feel like they should have done more with that. Like if the Undertaker
Right.
like gets out submission and then suddenly it's like ding and he like gets back up at the 9 count, forget it. Like
Right.
that'd be
No,
crazy.
I think it was just more they focus a lot on the no disqualification part of it, where the more
Mm,
interesting part of it was the later rule.
right.
Right. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
I mean, it not that it wasn't an exceptional match. I mean,
no,
this
it was
man literally
thoroughly
got thrown
entertaining.
out of the window. Like it was amazing, but I was like, that's so weird that that was like a rule that they didn't even like need. Really, I mean, I know why it's there, but like,
Right. Right. No, I agree. I'm with you on that. There was definitely a way that we could have made that a more prominent thing. Because
yeah,
if you're only gonna have two rules in the entire match, like let's use them. Like let's
uh,
make a point of like showing something.
yeah, because Vince was like all hype when like Execution got pinned. He goes, wait, like he's got to get to the 10 count. This
Right.
might not be over, and I was like, he's gonna get up. Like there's no way, and then it was
Mm-hmm.
over.
Right.
Crazy. I mean,
So
still amazing, and I'm so happy for the Undertaker because he deserved this so bad.
no, 100%. But also, he has yet to get his hands on Paul Bear. That man's always running.
Heeman.
I'm just gonna start
Fine.
calling him the Blur. Just
Boop. And for he is quick for being the tiny portly man that he is. He is quick.
oh yeah, he'd be scurrying.
Scurrying is the perfect word. He's
Well, when you
scurrying.
have like when it's the Undertaker who's on
Yeah,
your
your
ass,
adrenaline,
yeah,
your
you're
will to live
moving.
really takes over.
Like there is no way I would have that man coming after me and just be like at all remotely okay.
Yeah, no, I'm not choosing fight in that. It's flight.
It's flight every
It's
time.
flight every time. Yep.
So after that match, we get an interview with Bret Hart, and he was not calm, cool, and collected as
No.
we are used to seeing him. He's very upset, essentially, with. I feel like he was less upset with anything to do with Psycho Sid and the title,
Mm-hmm.
and very much so upset with Shawn Michaels's presence in this entire scenario.
Yep.
So
Girl.
during that whole interview, they go over this like little altercation that happened between the three of them earlier in the day where Shawn Michaels comes out of nowhere to attack Psycho Sid. We know this.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn has said, "I'm coming for you, Sid. Get ready."
Mm-hmm.
And Sid does deserve it. Not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then
Absolutely.
Bret interjects himself into that little scenario, seemingly so that Sid is protected for their match.
Which makes no sense.
Well, if you
Like, I guess.
yeah, if you get the kind of like, character that he is, he's very much like a, I want to win the right way
Right,
by
like what I was
right,
saying before.
right,
Like, I want it to be because, like, he made a point to, like, I didn't want him to be so injured that the match didn't even happen
right,
or something. Like, somebody said that. Like, oh, you were trying to protect him so that, like, the match, you still had a shot at the title.
right. So as that interview is like coming to a close, Shawn Michaels' music starts playing, and Bret loses it. He's just like, "Why is his music playing? Like, this is my time. I don't understand. Like, why I'm constantly being presented with Shawn Michaels. Like, he has not been right as far as Shawn Michaels goes since he lost the title to him at WrestleMania the year prior.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So
Big, big man.
right. So that is already like a huge, as far as like I'm seeing it, like just a huge mental factor in him competing in this match.
Yep.
Because you're fighting for the title. Your only focus should be getting that done. But before he even like makes it to the ring, there's this entire other person that is now like that is mentally taking up a lot of space.
Yep.
Let's just put it that way. So it's
Yeah.
like, how are you supposed to be this like calm, cool, collected, like I am the excellence of execution, the best technical wrestler. Like, how are you doing all of that and very much so behaving out of character?
Yep. Like, can't even like pay attention because he's like so distracted by how he
Right,
feels about Shawn Michaels.
right. Um, so that being said, Shawn Michaels makes his entrance
Which I wouldn't
because
be able to pay attention either.
right,
Because wow.
wow is correct.
Oh my god, he looked incredible.
Yeah, like literally, like jaw dropped, jaw
He
dropped.
looked so good. We said he looked like he transitioned to like hot Sandy at the end of Grease.
Oh, absolutely. He
Because it
he really hit us with that greaser.
swear like that transformation, like suddenly he's like, tell me about it, stud.
Yeah,
Like without a doubt.
100. We always are not we. I always like to say like beards are like makeup for men
Mm-hmm.
generally.
Mm-hmm.
And it really like not that he's like was bad without the beard, but there was something.
Yeah, no, 100%. He has like, yeah, that little like that sprinkle. He came out in all black, like in like the tightest jeans, the tightest top, the leather jacket, the belt, the shoes, and then his hair was like freshly like I don't know, like blow dry. Like it
It
was
looked
just
blown out. Yeah, like it was
it
good.
looked like he got a blowout for this, and then he had like these just thin black sunglasses on, which I thought was great because Bret Hart always comes out in sunglasses.
Hmm.
So I thought that was kind of a little like,
Nah, like a
and
little
it was a
dig.
similar, yeah, and it was like kind of a similar style, like not quite that like ski goggle looking esque
Hmm.
one, but like kind of similar. And he came out and just he smacking his gum.
Oh, he was
He
from the jump. He like
mm,
he goes in on Bret Hart, basically being like, like just calling him pompous and arrogant. He's like, oh, like, can we acknowledge in the WWF that we're all different people, or do we all have to be vanilla and boring like Bret?
Ooh,
And we were like, oh, okay.
he was so good on commentary.
I The man never misses. He
Never
never misses.
he didn't do too much. He had some good digs. He was funny. He made good calls. Like he was
Oh,
so
the dig
good.
about Psycho Sid, so funny.
Yeah.
When Psycho Sid's like chasing Bret like around the ring or whatever, and Sean goes, "What bothers me is like that's his top speed. Like
Like,
that is
that
full
is his
throttle."
top MPH. Like put this bitch in high gear or get out. Like it was just those little like silly comments that were
Right.
so funny.
It's phenomenal. But as far as this match goes, Bret very much so had it in control. Like there
Absolutely.
was the initial like power game from Sid, which you all come to expect. He's the size that he is.
Hmm.
So clearly he's going to come out swinging, but Bret does what he always does. He finds a body part, picks it apart. That is the focus of like the match. He was all over Sid for like 90% of this match.
100% and going for the lower back. And there was one part where they were outside of the ring and he threw Sid into the steel stairs, like in the back.
Mhm.
And it looked and sounded truly horrible. It was
100%.
nuts. And I'm so impressed with Bret Hart. He's just such a good wrestler. And the fact that Psycho Sid is so humongous and he was like Bret Hart was throwing him around, like
Yeah.
setting him up for like backbreakers, like just it was so he's so good. It was really amazing.
Yeah. So guess who makes an appearance once again?
I mean,
Stone Cold
what
Steve
else?
Austin comes down. Apparently he's been set free by all these security people, or
Yeah, he keeps giving
he's
them the runaround.
right. 100%. Like I love that they were both the most effective and least effective security team ever.
Actually, true. When we were talking earlier and how he like came out twice in the British Bulldogs match, I was like, okay, so maybe the security's actually not eating the way I thought they were. But like,
Yeah, but they fully had Mankind in a straitjacket. So like what, like,
it's giving me. It's like as soon as they get them out, they're like, okay, bye.
right,
But
100%.
in the arena, extremely effective. And then they're like, I don't know. Now this is out of our jurisdiction. I guess do what you want.
Right. Do what you please. So
Mhm.
essentially, he chop blocks Bret, same as he did Bulldog earlier. So Bret starts getting like a little bit desperate as far as this match goes. He ends up pulling the turnbuckle, uh, the cover off of the turnbuckle, exposing
Yeah.
the metal ring, which ends up backfiring on him.
Oh,
Oh,
so
he
bad.
gets his whole face dropped by Psycho Sid onto
Whole
the ring.
face. JR even says like I think he should see a dentist. Like he might need a dentist after this match because his whole
100%.
face.
So Bret's crawling on the floor after that point and starts grabbing at Sean's chair. Sean on commentary gets up. He's like, "It's your match. If you want the chair, like take it. Like I'm not
And he
trying
goes,
to like."
oh, look at Bret Hart, the role model for all the kids taking the chair.
Oh, so funny.
So
So
good.
he's like, "It's your match. If that's what you want to do, like go for it. Like I'm not trying to stop you." So what ends up happening is Bret Hart goes to like grab the chair. Sid comes up from behind, hits Bret. He falls on the ground with the chair, and
Hmm.
then he puts his whole like hand
Oh
in Shawn
yeah.
Michaels' face and pushes him into the guardrail and just like absolutely just in his mush. Just take it.
Because I guess he was pissed he was gonna give Bret the chair.
Right.
And the way he threw that hand, put that hand in his face and shoved him was crazy. Like I I don't even know. I was
It
like,
was
that
brutal.
is brutal and disrespect on a whole other level.
Right.
Crazy.
So essentially they Psycho Sid and Bret Hart end up back in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
Shawn, once he like comes to,
It's big piss.
big piss, jumps on the ring apron. At that exact moment is when Bret Hart is being thrown into the ropes. They butt heads to the
Bad.
point where Bret Hart's nose is just fully bleeding.
Like
Uh,
probably broken.
right.
They
Uh,
cracked faces.
100%. And then Psycho Sid takes advantage of the situation, power bombs Bret Hart, and then gets the pinfall victory, retaining the title. Wild.
Wild. And like I okay, I get it. Like, because I was like, it would be insane if Sycho Sid only had the title for like 3 weeks or
Right.
for what, like,
Whatever. Yeah.
like, does that happen? I'm sure. Where it's like
Right.
someone, it's like I'm sure there's like I think I said it a few episodes ago. I was like, I'm so curious as to who is the person that's retained the title for the shortest amount of time. I haven't looked it up because I don't want spoilers. But like, I'm just so curious, and I was like, maybe it is Sycho Sid, because it would, again, like, it would be wild if Bret Hart like just can, not that he continued losing because he won his match against Stone Cold, but like, I don't know. I was like, it really could go any way, and it's crazy either way that it happens. But I was like,
Right.
something definitely, especially because they had Shawn Michaels at ringside. I was like, he has to be the factor that like ends up, he like interferes somehow that ends up
Right.
determining. But and I originally thought it would be more against, like, and it was like, it was more against Sycho Sid because like Shawn Michaels goes to like get revenge for getting shoved on like by
Right.
Sycho Sid, and I was like, he has the bigger beef with Sycho Sid, so I assumed he would try and interfere that way, which
Right.
kind of was what his goal was.
That was his intention. Yeah.
But it ended up backfiring, and like he ended up colliding faces with Bret. But I was like, I understand like why Sid should retain the title for at least a while longer, and also again, people love him, like they really do. So I mean, it makes sense, and it also now like lends itself to a real serious beef that was already brewing between Bret and Shawn Michaels.
Right. Which is not over by a long shot.
I mean,
So that feud's going on. We have Shawn and Sycho, which will be a match at the Royal Rumble. And then we have Austin and Bret, and then we have Austin and the Bulldog. So
because the Bulldog also came out during this match. I forgot about this. When Stone Cold
chop
like,
blocks.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
Chop blocks Bret Hart. I was like, oh my god, and then like he is out, and then suddenly he's getting his ass beat by the British Bulldog.
Right.
British Bulldog comes out, and then again, here comes the like 4.5 star security. They come out, and then they get the Bulldog out of there like real quick. But I was like, oh my god, this is so messy. This is 100%. So messy. Everybody hates each other. There are no friends here. No one is friends anymore.
And then at the end of all of this, to close out the pay-per-view, Shawn Michaels is like stumbling on the ground, just like trying to like come to, because he just got his ish rocked.
Oh yeah.
And there is like a moment where like Bret Hart's kind of like standing next to me, he like turns around and he's like, I don't know, you just see this like moment of like, am I gonna do it? And then he's like, you know what?
Yeah,
I'm gonna do it. And then decks him. Just
Ooh!
Absolutely decks him. Gets his little comeuppance for what just happened, or as the comeuppance he was gonna get in that moment anyway. And yeah, it was not over by a long shot. And the fact that we're still intertwining all of these characters, there's so much going on.
And Sycho Sid is just on top as the champion right now. Like it is lawless here. This is a lawless place.
No.
There's just so many beefs.
The thing that's very interesting about all of this is a match like the Royal Rumble, where there are so many like competitors and whatnot, lends itself to kind of a situation that we're kind of in, where there's so many people intertwiningly feuding that you have to imagine that there are going to be spots during that match that kind of emphasize that.
Wow, I can't wait. That's gonna be so. You love the Royal Rumble.
I love the Royal Rumble. It is my favorite thing.
Favorite. Oh my god! Wow.
The next pay-per-view is going to be a big one for me.
A biggie.
So yeah, so that was the In Your House It's Time pay-per-view, guys. That was it. It was a mess. That is correct.
It was time. It's time to clean up. It's disgusting in here.
Yeah, who's cleaning this mess?
I swear.
Who's paying for all this meat?
Nope. Not Vince, let me tell you.
All right, guys. As always, I just want to say thank you for listening, watching, wherever you find us. And this has been another episode of the New to Wrestling podcast. We will catch you next week.
We'll see you there.
Bye.
Bye.